everybody. I'm Callie.
And I'm Kyle, and this is the After Dinner Podcast.
So I think we should start from the beginning. So...
Tinder.
Tinder
should sponsor us.
Yeah.
At this point.
Free swag. So 2 years ago?
Yeah.
Almost 2 years ago.
Almost 2 years.
April will be 2 years. March, actually. I was in a bar.
You were in a bar.
I was in a bar.
I liked your your TikTok. I liked your Tinder, and then just did
right. You swiped right on my
I swiped
bio,
right, and then I stole the Snapchat out of the bio, and
which was risky business.
It was.
Putting your Snapchat in there. Let me tell you.
I know, but
don't do it.
She was at the bar, and what did it say? Yeah, I forget your bio. I remember what I think I remember what I said. My first line was, I pulled out the savage move.
Right. It was like, help me restore my faith in men or something, because they're all disappointing, which is still kind of true, but not this one.
Yeah, and then I kind of came up and said, I'm here to restore your faith in men. And we just started talking that night, and we talked for a couple of weeks.
Yeah, so I was in a bar out for my cousin and my friend's birthday, and I'm just like, who's this weirdo texting me? And was just kind of going along with it, whatever. And like, I didn't really think he was weird. He was fun and put up with my shenanigans for the night. I don't know. I was like in a weird place where like I wasn't really looking for anything because I was 21 and didn't know where I wanted to be. So then he, swiped right. We started Snapchatting. Side note, I didn't swipe right because I felt awkward.
Yeah, she didn't. I was going to bring that up, but I'm glad you did first.
Well, we were already talking, so I felt weird if I swiped right. Like, we're not going to start a second conversation. So we just kind of talked for like a couple weeks. Like all the time. All day. I mean, I was working a night shift, so I didn't usually get home until like 11:30, and we'd usually talk until it would usually like FaceTime
until I fell asleep.
Right, so you fell asleep, and then I'd hang up, and then I'd wake up to that, "Hey baby," kind of text in the morning.
We worked completely opposite shifts. Like I was working early morning, but would stay up late and fall asleep on the phone with her, and then she would be working until she got home, then she'd hang up on me and then stay up and then go to sleep. And
right. I mean, not like stay up super late, not to just like ignore you, whatever, but so we just kind of like kept talking, and then eventually we decided to hang out.
That was like months or a month,
at least a month, yeah. And then so I came over to his house. We watched this ridiculous movie. Like, I don't even know what it was anymore.
I don't even remember anymore either.
It was just like a random like Netflix click on, and all I remember is it was like right when DMX passed.
Right.
And I was like, oh, I love DMX, and like started to like cry over DMX dying.
We ordered food. We
had tacos.
What did you say?
I said, please do not look at me while I eat this taco. And he's like, why?
She said, this is going to be the most unattractive thing about me is when I'm eating.
So he still watched me. Not like creepy. And then I stayed the night. I watched more movies.
Your dad was...
my dad was like
every
tweaking,
other minute.
like sending me weird memes, which whatever. Like, he doesn't trust my judgment. I'd whoop your ass.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
I'd make a call. But then like from then on there, like every weekend,
right,
we were traveling back and forth. Like, we lived an hour distance, ish, or like meeting in the middle and going out to dinner. And then shit got real.
real.
So in May, you came over to my dad's. I was staying at my dad's for the weekend.
Yeah, your dad was on vacation, right?
Right. He was out of town, so we needed somebody to stay with Grandpa and the dog. So you came to stay with me, and you were all nervous. So, like, at this point, you'd met my parents.
Yeah, correct. Let's go back to that, because I came up to spend the weekend with you. Um, I met your dad first.
Yeah, you met my
Yes.
dad
We
first.
were actually going to go to. We were that same night going to dinner with your mom and stepdad, and then ended up at your dad's first. And
Right.
I was like counting every minute. She goes, "We're about 10 minutes away." I'm sweating, hands, palms are sweaty, and then 5 minutes away. Okay, I want to jump out of the car because now I'm really scared. Not in a bad way, just meeting,
Right. Meeting the parents the first time is super
especially the
surreal.
dad.
Right. And like I had already met your parents. Like the first
Right.
time I met your parents, your mom sent me home with a crate of chocolate milk. You just spilled beer
I
all
did.
down your
I did. I
beard.
did.
But she made spaghetti, and I thought you were crazy because you put Thousand Island on your spaghetti, your
Should try it. Should
goulash.
try it.
Nasty. So, like, I'll put Thousand Island on like fries or a burger.
Have you tried it?
I have
I
not, but I'm
know.
just
So you
not.
can't
I
bash it until
can't.
you try it.
I can't. No.
So I was really nervous, but he I think accepted me very well. I was very
Yeah, I like got a text message
respectful.
then and was like, he was like, yeah, I like him.
Right, and then we went and met with your mom
Mm.
at the bar. Well, I guess not the bar, but it was a bar.
Yeah, it was a bar without a liquor license.
They just opened.
Right. Um, we had some super yummy burgers. And then afterwards, we were going to go to my mom's house and play Cards Against Humanity. But we had like stopped at the gas station to buy some beer. And we had to, get ID'd.
That was, oh my God, such an
It was so
awkward
awkward because I was like,
experience.
they're going to think these are fake. So, fun fact, Kyle's birthday is the day before mine. We almost shared the same birthday. He was born at like 10:30, 11 at night, and I was born at 5:30 the next day. So the woman at Speedway was like, "Oh my God, you guys are like destined to be together because your birthdays are so
Yeah,
close."
are you guys a couple? And
Right.
then I was like,
Uh.
and she's like, kind of. And then we kind of walked away. It was a weird, awkward
Yeah, it was a
experience.
weird situation. But then we went back to my mom's to play Cards Against Humanity, which makes everything less awkward.
Yeah.
Um, my family is, both of our families actually are very open and very inappropriate. But not in like a weird way, but like a,
We're going to tell you the honest truth and nothing but the truth.
right, whole truth and nothing but the truth.
Right?
Um, swear on it. So after that, it was like just kind of pretty routine. Like we were both like swapping back and forth, like whose house we went to. I was at your house more often than not, but
Right.
that was like my choice. It was, I think it was a lot of times easier for us because the dog, like you had dogs.
I worked every Saturday morning.
Right, you work Saturdays, and then so I would hang out at his house. His parents and I would go to breakfast.
Yeah, while I was at work.
Right, while you're at work.
Visiting at work too. Jeez,
Right.
can't
Every
talk.
once in a while, we'd stop up with donuts after we went and had a super yummy breakfast. We'd bring you grocery store donuts.
Yeah, right, right. Still
Um,
appreciate it.
so, or like your mom and I would go shopping or just hang out at the house, comfy porch. We'd just chill out. Um, so then, like,
Getting to May.
right. So we get to May. So I have to dog sit, house sit, grandpa sit for my dad. At this point, my grandpa's living there full time. He's got this big doofus of a dog. Um, so I asked my dad if it's okay if, like, I have an extra guest at this point. Like, he was comfortable with Kyle. He knew Kyle, whatever. Um, and he came to stay, and he was like, I need to set something up in the garage. I need you to not look at what I'm doing. And I'm like, why are you being so weird? And I'm like, why are you being so nervous? Like, it's just me and Grandpa. Like, Grandpa's going to sit in the living room and watch TV. Like, making dinner, no big deal. Like, it's just like a normal Friday. Because, like, you would happen to have that Saturday. No, you didn't have Saturday off. You had to get back up early next morning and go to work. Like,
Right, right.
psycho.
Yeah.
But anyways, side note a little woohoo going on here. Um, I'm like a squirrel. I don't have ducks and I don't have a row. I have squirrels that are at a rave all the time. Anyways,
But and I also like tipped off. I have a surprise.
right.
Now, though for future lovebirds going to ask someone to be your girlfriend, do not say you have a surprise because that's when they find out. So, I mean, I set up all this and brought her out, and she was happy and excited to see. But I feel like she already knew, and then I
I
asked her
cry.
after. Yeah,
I
you did
definitely
cry.
cry.
I mean, yeah, it's the still surreal part of it, but um, you kind of knew what was going to happen. I feel like.
Yeah, I mean, I had like an idea because like as soon as you're like, oh, I have a surprise. Like, okay, we were like dating, but like not officially. Like, we weren't really a couple. We were just like two friends that really liked each other. Like,
Right, right.
um, just having fun and whatnot. But so like he like pulls me in the garage and shows me, and then I like get all emotional, whatever. So like I'm like telling everybody, and I was like, oh, this is so cool. And then I remember like I had put it on Facebook that we're in a relationship, and like I wasn't like I'm not super talkative about my private life with a lot of people. Like if you're not in my like super inner circle, like you didn't know that I had anybody.
Right.
Um and I'm like getting text message, who is this guy? And I'm like, it's okay. Like I can have people like
Right.
outside of the normal circle. Um
But that's just being protective.
right, right. Um and it wasn't just like nosy protective people. It's like it's people that I know and that people like wanted me to be happy and like was shocked that like I finally found somebody because it had been so long. It's been such a touch road for me. Um and now here we are. So we're in May. Um After that we just, kind of continued the same ritual of weekends. I actually had kind of switched shifts on what I was working and went to awake overnights for a little bit. So like that kind of messed everything up because I was sleeping during the day or trying to, and then having to be up all night. Um,
And I
I
would be staying up way too late to get up way
right,
too early.
right. I was also working in a very haunted house, so it was
Explain what you
sometimes.
did.
So I worked for a company. It's called the ARC, where we support individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities. So at this point, I was working in the residential setting. I had done a couple things before that and just kind of bounced around. But once COVID hit, they kind of pushed everybody into residential because we couldn't do a lot of community things. So
Right.
they needed so much help because our day programs and such shut down. Um, so at this point, I had been working at a different location, and a girl had just had surgery and it needed somebody awake all the time to help her. She needed it at nighttime. Um, so that's what I was doing, and that was for like 3 weeks.
Right, right, yep.
It wasn't a long time, but it was a huge adjustment because I had like a day to adjust. So like I was up all day and up all night, and then tried to sleep for a little while. But like it took a while to adjust to it, and I would know I was grumpy. I was so like overloaded. Um, so I'm working in this super haunted house. Like everybody's sleeping at night, and I'm just like sitting there like, when's the ghost gonna come out?
And I'd be sleeping, but still on FaceTime.
Right. I would
Like
keep
I
him
would
on
wake
FaceTime like
up to
up
go
all
to
night.
work, and I'd
Yeah.
still be on FaceTime, and eventually.
So I was, keeping him on FaceTime like the majority of the night. He would get up and then we would hang out so we could get ready for work, whatever. And then I would call him and like set my phone up while I drove home. So he was like keeping me awake because I was so tired, or at least until I ran out of service. I lived in a dead zone. Um, and then we would FaceTime until I fell asleep in the morning and then do it all over again that
Right,
night when I woke up.
because at that point I was working the scale house at the transfer, like, so I could be on my phone and still take care of the customers,
Right.
and most of it was like you were still. So I worked at a transfer station, I guess, slash like a landfill. It's where like transfer station, as far as like everyone brought their garbage there, haulers brought their garbage there. I was working the scale house, and then it got really tricky when I became an operator. I mean, I was kind of half operator, half
Right.
in the scale station. Um, so when I was in the scale house, yeah, I was fine, but obviously operating, I was not able to like take the phone calls. But we'd text, and I'd keep her awake, even if I had to put some like Bluetooth headphones in and keep her awake on the ride home till she fell asleep. But
Right.
that was weird times. Like we were completely living opposite, like almost like
Right.
different time zones at that point.
Yeah, and then like sometimes during the week, like Thursday nights, I would come up in the afternoon for like a little while. We'd have dinner and then I'd sleep for like an hour and then go back an hour trip to go to work and then stay up all night. Um, One weekend, it was like the end of when I was doing overnights. Um, I was awake for like 36 hours.
Right.
And it was like finally time we were going to go to bed. And he's like, let's just watch this video quick. And then like 30 seconds later, I'm just like,
Right. Right.
sound
Right.
asleep. Like, and hard. I slept so hard because I was just exhausted. But I was trying to like break my schedule for the weekend. So like, we could spend time together. Um, and then like we kind of went through the summer, everything was good, and his parents were buying a new house. So, it was time. We were 21, almost 22.
Right. Right.
Um,
Actually, that whole summer, I think we spent looking at
yeah.
properties
Yeah,
and
it took a long time.
looking at houses, and so my parents had an old single wide, and they were just looking to get rid of it. So at first, I was just looking for properties and people to take it there because it was still in decent condition, and
Right, right.
for a first house, it'd been awesome. And then they were actually getting a new one just to put in the same place as the old one was. But so we spent most of the summer just looking at properties, and at like some point, like we figured out like it's gonna be more expensive to do it
Right.
that way because
Right,
then
because we would have had to put a well
right,
and,
right, right,
like sewer, all of that. Um, then we would have had to lay a concrete pad or gravel, so that would have been another expense, running electric. Um, so we were on like Zillow all the time, just sending each other places in the area. Because I had decided that I wanted to live, out here. I didn't want to, keep living where I was from. Um, so it was time for a huge change, and I was perfectly okay with that, and everything worked out. Um, so we finally found this house, and we went to check it out, and I was like, I think we should make an offer on this. And we made the offer. We stressed for like 2 days.
yeah, because like after you make an offer, so we went to a FHA loan, and there's so many steps you have to take just to get through it.
Right.
And so they have to have like someone to come in and appraise a place, and if it appraises for higher than your offer, you're not going to get it, and it's or no, lower, right? Yeah, if it
Right.
appraises for
So
lower,
if it comes in lower,
you wouldn't. It doesn't work because the bank.
right. But if it comes in higher, you want it to come in higher because then they're like, oh, okay, we're not losing money in this
Correct.
situation. So it ended up coming in higher after just like probably 2 months of just stress and like the new trailers coming in and like we've got to get out and
We were laying on the couch, and the real estate agent called me. So I went through Zillow, and they
right.
had like a person you could talk to on them, and then they had the selling agent for the people that were selling the house. But like he came in and said they accepted the offer and everything like that. I'm like, great. But then that's when all the hell breaks loose because now,
Right.
yes,
Now
they
the
accepted the offer.
inspections and
Now the mortgage company wants a plumbing inspection, an HVAC inspection, a dye test, everything like so stressful, so much money, and then like they'll say, well, we need to have all HVAC, and when you get all those inspections done, they want someone else to come back in and look at the house to make sure that that was all correct. I just don't get the point of like why do you have to pay for all of that just for the one person to come back in and say, yeah, you're all set.
right. Right.
So it was an awful experience, but it all
Right.
paid off.
So it was actually the week of our birthdays in October. It was a Friday night. At this point, I had changed jobs, so I was closer to our area. I was working for a doctor's office, and I had to travel for trainings. And when I got home on Friday, or to his parents, anyways, um, the guy we were buying the house from, who had been amazing through the whole thing and still is, he helped us with so much. We were gonna crash in a tent, and Kyle had crashed in a tent for a couple nights because his parents' new trailer come in, but we had everything packed away, and just timing was not it.
And until you went to closing, my parents, so they had their old trailer pulled off, and even if the new one was there, you can't, under by law, move right into it until they go to final closing, even though the house was right there.
Right, you have to have a certificate of
Correct,
occupancy.
correct. And so we did. We had the old one pulled off like I think not even a day before the new one was supposed to come.
Right.
And so they brought up a pop up. They
Mhm.
plugged in. We had power. We had heat and everything. And it was October, but it was also a warmer like
Yeah,
in
it
the
was pretty
beginning, and
warm.
it was really warm. But still, like you're living like kind of in a tent. Like yeah, we could have rented a hotel room, but we just kind of sent it and said this is it. I mean, we gotta wait till the closing date.
Right.
So when the homeowner found out about that, he actually let us move into his house before closing
Right.
and said that you're staying here as a guest and that everything, if anyone asks, it's a guest, it's a real thing, you can do it. So he said, because I think the deal's going to go through and then you'll take back over. I just wanted to explain that part.
Right. No, no, no. I get it. So yeah, they let us move in, and at this point, we had purchased like everything we needed for a house. So I borrowed his dad's truck and like went and got everything. Because you were at work.
Yeah, I had to work.
Right. So I moved a bunch of stuff. Just one day, I lost a pillow on the side of the road. Whole story for another time.
Yeah, we'll have to. Yeah, that'll be a different.
Yeah, yeah, that's another day.
Should have listened to Grandpa.
Yeah, I should have listened to Grandpa, but we won't tell him that. So we move everything. Everything goes great. We're here for about a month, right?
Well, go ahead. Where are you going with this?
About a month before we went through all the final closings and whatnot.
I don't think it was a full month, maybe 2 weeks.
Yeah, it wasn't very long.
Acceptive of us being here because closing, we already had a closing date. Well, actually, no, we had like one more inspection, and he goes, everything is going to pass anyways, so
Right.
let's just do it. And then we set up a closing date. We all met. I had to sign a whole bunch of papers. You were at work that day.
Right.
I said that was the most so the most stressful part of it all, I guess, wasn't maybe closing was a relief. Like as soon as you sign, I mean, the best part of that whole situation was that we were already moved in. Like
Right.
it's
So
not
like
like
all
after
that
closing we
right.
have to get everything and let's move now, and that's going
Right.
to be another
It's
week.
like
We
the
were already
hammer
in here.
time's over.
Right. So it was awesome that we were already moved in. Like again, like you said, like he was a great. I don't know how to say
Right.
it.
He was phenomenal. If I could buy any house from him, I would. I mean, he was super helpful. I mean, he was here through all the process of us. We had to put in new floorings. We had to put a new vent in over
Right, and that's
the
another
oven.
thing. When the appraiser came through, they said yes, and then they said, well, this is a hazard, this is a hazard. So these mortgage companies hire these appraisers to come through and say what's good and what's not good, but basically to appraise the house and say it's good. But then
Right.
they go through and also say, well, this is a hazard, this is a hazard, you have to have this fixed or we're not going to finance you. And then it's like, okay, well, how does this work? Because say we do all this and then something falls through. This could have been, I think, that we had to do all that work before even the appraisal came back.
Right.
Which was
Right.
on us if we if we wanted to or didn't want to. Because, like, so say we did it and then here we are, we have all this little bit of money into it, and boom, nope, didn't come back. So like after we did all this work, I'm like, and he helped us with a lot.
Right.
Like,
Yeah. He was here
the
quite
bank
often.
the bank
with us.
wanted these things done, so we did them. And like this was also like coming off of like, okay, this could be not your house or your house. It depends on how the appraisal comes back, and so bad if you didn't do all the work, and it could have
Right.
went south
And
really
I
bad.
think like his thought process was like, if I help out, like if something falls through, these are still things that other people are gonna have to do.
And I think another reason he stepped in is because like it took for like ever.
Right.
Right. It lagged on. It's like you want this question, ask this question, and then you have to have this, and like I don't just let us do what we have to do. Let's
Right.
do. I mean,
So
I
like
understand like it was a time of like where the economy was really good, so everyone was buying houses, right? Peak COVID.
right.
Sorry for the COVID talk, but
Yeah, we won't go there.
no, we're not gonna go there. But like it was just a time where everything was so you have to wait so long for everyone to do everything because everyone was buying a house.
Right. And so many people are working from home too is another thing. But I lost my train of thought.
Just take back off wherever you were.
Oh, I remember. So like our agent and the seller's agent were like, trying so hard to get everything done because, their agent wanted to sell the house, but our agent wanted to be able to buy the house, and it was taking forever. And finally, we were just like cutting over people's heads because we were like, "This is just getting ridiculous," and we need to move. Like,
Well, right when I had to have the plumbing inspection done. I was told this is awful. Do never like I guess Zillow's good, but the seller's agent hates Zillow because Zillow has their own agent.
Ziller.
Ziller. I meant Zillow, but Ziller. But whatever. Um, has their own agent, and so now, beings I've started this process with them, now they're in competition because the commission is going to be split. So now they're pissed off, and like I got so many nasty emails from people, from the seller's agent or agents, I will say, got nasty emails because they're competing for this.
Right. And at the end, like at the beginning she wasn't great at the beginning. At the end she helped us out a lot. So
Right, but like going back to the plumbing thing, we'll have her meet you there and meet the plumbing guy there. Cool, tell him that, and then he gets there and he goes, "Anyone can meet me here?" I'm like, "Well, the seller's agent was supposed to meet you there," and he's like, "Well, no one's here, and I've been here for 15 minutes." Now you're like, "Dude, this guy's went out of his way to do this for me, and now here we are. It's gonna be hell if this doesn't go through." So then he says, "Well, who's the selling agent?" Luckily, he knew the selling agent. He goes, "Yeah, she told me." Just go in and do what I had to do, and because he knew where the spare key was. That's how this deal went. I mean, there was a spare key, and people knew where it was. So
which was also kind of scary because like anybody that
right,
knew where
but
that key was could just
I
come
think,
on in.
but
But
they knew this
it was
deal was
pretty
going
secure.
through. Right, right, right. I mean, but all the locks changed now. I'm not worried about that. But like, there was just and then the dye test. The dye test. I mean, I had to keep emailing the guy, texting the guy, and he's like, "Oh, you gotta take time. It takes time. It takes time." Well, I don't have time. Like,
Right.
the winter's coming. I'm like,
Time is money, and we're not making money.
right.
Like,
Right. So I mean, and then get homeowner insurance, everything like that. It was a really stressful process, but I think at the end it was like I mean it's all worth it.
right,
Always,
it was
but it's
all
always
worth
worth
it.
it,
We have a
man. But
beautiful home.
right.
For being 23 years old, we've gone through a lot of hoops in such a short time to get to where we are. Um,
Yeah, I mean to like follow that up by saying like so FHA. Yeah, I'm not telling you not to do it because like that was our only option at the time. Like that's what they offer you, and like
right,
to like it's a single wide trailer. I'm gonna say that right now. So it's a single wide, and you will not find many mortgage companies to give you a loan for a single wide trailer because it depends on the age of it. If it's
right.
brand new, maybe, but like this one was an older trailer, so
And we like just
barely like
met the
like
cuff.
he's like,
Like,
yeah, your credit score is good and everything like that, and then we go through. Well, the year, this, and then so someone actually, luckily, we did have the Zillow guy because he goes, I did
right,
this before, and the guy that helped one of my last clients was such and such. Here's his number. I called him. He goes, absolutely, we have you, we got you. Just did all the paperwork,
right.
and he's like, oh, you have perfect credit score, not perfect, but good enough, and
Well, for
that
our age, you do.
right,
Yeah.
but like just, I mean, that was like nuts to like just how it lined up because this could never be something without the Zillow guy.
Right.
Because
Right.
I never knew of this, like the company and
Oh yeah, no, no, no. I mean, we couldn't have done this without a lot of things or a lot of people. I mean, we lucked out
right.
majorly and through all of this.
So then, advance into the house. We've been here a year and a half. No,
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
year. No, a year and a couple months. I say.
Right. So we moved in October, and then we were like, well, we
It was the
wanted to
end
do
of yeah. It was actually
right.
middle to end because like closing date was November 4th, 2021.
Right. So we talked about doing a housewarming party, um, which we finally did. We kind of waited for the ground to thaw because we were coming into winter, so we didn't want to do that because we didn't want all the people in the house because we would have been crammed.
Right. I mean, it's not a huge house. It's a single
Right.
trailer. I mean, people
Right.
can
I
you
mean, and
invite
we
to a
invited a
household
lot of
party.
people.
Right.
You
Your
know, we
family's big. My
both
family's
have
big. So
very big families and lots of amazing friends, and so we ended up doing a house party Memorial Day weekend.
yeah.
Um, and we had a fantastic time. We had a great turnout. Lots of friends. We barbecued earlier on, and then we had a bonfire. We did s'mores, and then we came inside and played some beer pong.
Right.
Um, and then the next day, um, we had pictures planned, um, which were supposed to be couples
I'm a
pictures.
sly guy.
Right.
That's
Yeah,
funny.
he did real good. So he says to me, we should get pictures done again for our anniversary because our anniversary is in May. So I reached out to my girl Tony and we set it all up. Everything's amazing. We're all set up for this super cute couples shoot.
But behind the scenes, I was behind all of it.
Right, right. So
You set it up,
little,
and then I messaged her, and I said, "Well, this is how it's gonna go." So
right.
you'll finish the story.
Yeah. So, we're doing pictures after I stressed about what to wear and my mom's like, "Go with the dress that you really want." And I'm like, "Why is everybody being so weird today?" Like,
Yeah, her parents already knew.
yeah, so everybody, not everybody, quite a few people knew except me.
Correct.
Of which I'll tell a little backstory after that, after I tell the story. So we're doing these pictures, and Tony's like, "Callie, face down the hill so your back is to Kyle." And then she's like, "Oh, this is perfect. This is just so perfect." And Kyle's like, "This is perfect, right? Right? This is perfect." And like the whole time I'm like, what is he doing?
Right.
Like, why is he being so weird about it? So then Tony's like, "Callie, turn around kind of like you're dancing type of thing." And I turn around, and this jackass is down on one knee with a ring in his hand.
I'm a jackass, right?
Yeah, you're a jackass. But so am I for what I said when, I noticed a ring. I was like, "No way. No, stand up." Like, I just didn't believe it was real.
Right.
And then, like he does this super cute little like speech thing, and Tony's bawling her eyes out.
And I start crying.
Yeah, I cried. Actually, Tony has a really hilarious picture of like when I turn around, like I'm pointing at him, and you can tell that I'm going, "No, no, stand up."
Right.
And then the next picture, I look like I'm like pooping in the woods or something. Like it was a very awkward picture, but it's so funny, and I love it at the same time. So, I mean, obviously, like, I said yes, I think. Like, afterwards, I said to him, I was like, "I said yes, right?"
You did.
Did I actually answer that? And he's like, "Yeah, you did." And I was like, I kind of blacked out. Like, I kind of don't remember it for a hot minute.
So, like, our anniversary pictures kind of, like, our 1 year together anniversary
Right.
pictures turned into a engagement photo shoot.
Yeah.
Which was
Yeah.
perfectly planned by yours truly.
Yeah, well.
Well, you messaged her, but then I took over, like,
planned.
you know how many times I'm like, Jesus, like, I'm so open, like, I will give her my phone. If she asked my phone right now, I'd give it to her. Like, honestly, I'd give it
Right.
right now. I don't care. But, because I have nothing to hide. But, like, in those moments, like, you do have something to hide, and it's to hide from her. But then if you don't want her, like, she's going to be like, well, then you're cheating or something like that, or think something's weird's
Right.
going on. I'm like, shit, so what do I do? I'm like, hope for the best she doesn't open up an Instagram message. But, like, I tried pointing the time to message Tony when I was at work.
Right.
So I didn't. But I'm like, regardless, I'm not deleting the messages. So if she opens it, I'm screwed. So I, like, took a big gamble there.
Right. And, like, the funny part is that Tony and my mom are, like, BFFs.
Yeah, for real, for real.
So Tony knows all this is going to happen. My mom has no idea until the day before, right? Or did she know a little before?
I might have messaged her. And
Yeah.
that's another thing. I'm like, all right, now I have to worry about Instagram. Now I have to worry about Facebook. I think, no, I did. I messaged your mom. I have screenshots. And then I deleted them because I showed you the screenshots later.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so because I'm
Yeah.
like, I am not going to keep these because, like, Messenger is definitely more prone to click on than,
Right.
like,
right.
oh, who's he texting? And then, like, her mom pops up, like,
Yeah, I would have been like, this is weird. What are you planning? But like Tony was like, "I didn't know if your mom knew," and I like didn't say anything.
which
Right.
was perfect. Like, I didn't even tell Tony that your mom knew. So,
Right.
like, because if I tell Tony your mom knew, then, okay, then she knows. So then Linda knows, which your grandma didn't know.
My grandma did not
Correct.
know.
And, like, so, like, I'm like, I'm not going to tell her that anyone knows because this is where things get leaked. Because
Right.
people talk. I mean, it's going to be like, all right, then she's good to know. Then her friend's good to know. Then some way it's going to get back to you.
Right. And like there was so many times where like I almost found out like the day that your mom came one of our housewarming parties. She like has this box, and I was like, "Oh, I'll take it." She's like, "No, I'll give it to Kyle." Like, I don't think anything of it. And it's a box full of fishing lures.
Right.
I didn't think it was any big deal, but lo and behold, my ring's underneath it.
Correct, because I had the ring shipped to Mom's house.
Right.
And, like, I had a full-blown conversation just like before. I think this is the first time you're ever going to find out this. I had a full-blown conversation with Mom. I was like, you know, like, do you, like, I think this is the one, and I know
Right.
this is the one, but I want you, like, I've always been that way with my parents. Like, not even so much my dad. Like, I'll ask my mom for advice any day of the week. So I'm like, I'm thinking about doing this. And she was, like, so supportive. She goes, I think that's a great idea, and I think you're making the right choice, and everything like that. So I'm like, all right, fuck. And this is great because, like, I think you've never. Did I ever tell you this?
Yeah, you did tell me this. Because then you were like stressing about like which ring, because I had sent you a couple of rings that I liked.
Correct.
But I like sent this one and I was like, I really love this one. Like, it's so pretty, it's so delicate, like it's very Callie. And then your mom was like, get the one that she's really gonna like, the one that she's told you she wants, like.
Right. So I had it shipped there, and then that's how at the housewarming party she brought. I have a whole bunch of old like lures because I'm a big fisherman, and I know you left at the house when you moved and everything like that. So I'm like, okay, cool, perfect, thank you. And I already knew that the ring was already tucked in the bottom, so I hid it in the back room. And actually, when she was outside at the housewarming party, her mom came in and saw the ring. I don't think.
Right.
Yeah, and then
My
I
mom
showed,
and Kiana.
yeah, showed Dean, showed Kiana. So it's crazy.
Right. So, like, he asked my dad, and my dad was like, absolutely, whatever.
Everyone wanted me to, like, that news.
Right.
Do it right here and then and now. I'm like,
Well,
no,
and it
I'm
was
like, I want
funny.
to remember it, and I want to, like, do the picture thing about it. Like,
Right.
so that's why I messaged, like, I had everything set up in my head. I messaged
Right.
Tony, and I'm like, we have to capture this, please.
And it was so funny. Like, at the housewarming party, so many people were like, oh, when are you guys going to get engaged? And I was like, yesterday, like, kind of joking, like, oh, like, I've wanted to be engaged for a long time. Like, I've wanted to marry you for the longest time. I had this ticking time clock because I wanted to get married on the 7th. So to work out, we would have had to wait another 7 years. Like, I wanted to get on the weekend of our birthdays. Like, had been our plan from the beginning. So it just wouldn't have been awkward if, like, we had to wait another 7 years, because I would not have been engaged for 7 years.
Right. No, I don't blame you on that. So here we are. This is the year.
Yeah, it's the year. 8 months away. Which means 8 months until Disney.
Right. So I guess that we didn't skip much, did we? Like, we just went from being engaged to, like...
Right. So we got engaged. I instantly got on Amazon and ordered all the stuff so I could ask my bridesmaids to be my bridesmaids.
July, I went on a bachelor's trip.
Right. You went on a bachelor's trip. At this point, no, you hadn't asked anybody yet. You were still kind of hemming and hawing about some things. So we waited a little while to, ask your groomsmen. Everybody was asked by September.
Yeah, absolutely.
One of your groomsmen's travels for work. So it was like kind of hard to catch him, but
we called him at, where was that?
At Justin and Alyssa's wedding.
Was it?
Yeah.
We called him there?
Yep.
Okay.
So at that point, he would ask all your guys. So then that kind of really kicked off some planning. October, Columbus Day weekend. Actually, on Columbus Day, my mom, my grandma, and my mother-in-law, Kyle's mom. Obviously, that was kind of weird to point out. Point out the obvious, Callie. We get in the car, we drive down to David's Bridal, and we buy a dress.
You bought a dress?
I bought a dress.
It's actually at my mom's house.
It is at your mom's house.
And then, okay, here's another thing. Don't ever make a joke that you saw her dress, because it's a terrible idea. I thought she was going to kill me.
Yeah, the devil horns came out.
Correct. And it was all just a joke, because I know where it is at my parents' house, but I'm not, like, because that's the point. You tell me where it is, I know, like, that's the rule. You don't see the dress. You don't tell me where it is, I'm going to go look for something, I'm going to find it. Then
right.
we're in really deep trouble. So, yeah, so 8 months away, asked everyone. Then we went to, actually, So I guess we could skip a little bit. So we have a lot of planning to do, but lately we went to the wedding expo. You went to one with your mom.
Right.
That was
Which
out in
was right,
Syracuse.
Syracuse. It was good. It would have been better if we were getting married closer to Syracuse because a lot of things, it didn't really work for us.
Right.
So we went to one the weekend after. We
Correct.
went to the one at the foothills,
Yep.
which was super amazing. We got a lot of information, um, and they had
It's like
what
they called it a passport.
right.
So
They
like
had this
if you went around
passport.
to
It was like a bingo
everyone
card.
and saw every person there at the venue,
Right.
and they'd sign it for you, and then it's like yeah, like she said, it was a bingo card, and then you hand it in, and I guess you entered to win the grand prize, and then
Right.
so we got home that day. It was yeah, it was
Yeah, it was like maybe like 2 hours later.
right.
I get a phone call and it's a number I don't know. So I was like, if it's important, to leave a voicemail. So, we were cleaning and whatnot, the whole adulting thing. So they leave a voicemail. I go to check the voicemail and it's like, hey, this is so and so from the foothills. I'm just calling to say congratulations. You won the grand prize. Give me a call back. So I call her back and she's like, congratulations. You won the grand prize. I'm going to give you this guy's number. Call him. So I called this guy who's like the head of the foothills.
Which I think we saw him there that day, right? He was trying to like he
I
was
don't
one of
I
the
don't
venues. If it wasn't him, it
remember.
was someone.
Yeah, it was somebody else up on the higher levels there. Um,
Because if anyone has known that we're doing at-home wedding, so
right,
we were just searching for other things, not venues.
right. We didn't really need a venue. So he calls or I call him anyways, and we talk about it. We set up a time for me to go and pick it up. And at this point, we're like, we still don't even know what the grand prize is. Like, we're just. So Kyle gets on Facebook, the place of all the information, whether it's true or not. And the Full Hills has actually had posted what the grand prize was, and I was like, this is phenomenal. So it ended up being a gift box from Pure Romance, which was super cool. Um, we got 2 bottles of champagne, a free night, and a free meal at the Comfort Inn.
Yep.
Um, a $200 Visa gift card, and a free room rental at the Foothills, which is amazing. Even though we have a venue, he's like, you can use it for whatever event you want. So, bridal shower is where we're probably going to do it at this point, I believe. I mean, that's not really my job. That's my girl's job.
But at least I don't have to worry about like a spot to
Right,
go.
right. And it's kind of like in the middle of where I live, where Kyle's side of the family lives, and like my family.
Right.
It's like the perfect. So not everybody's having to travel super far. It's perfect.
Right. So.
And now we're to today.
To today.
To today. To today. The day before Valentine's Day, our second Valentine's Day together.
Correct.
We almost made it to the first one. If you had come at me a month before you did.
That's true. Well, I guess bad timing on my part. But so, what are you nervous about on the wedding? On the wedding day, like what? Well, not even the wedding day. Like, what's your most nerve-wracking part of the wedding?
The most nerve-wracking part of the wedding, I don't know, cause like I'm
I guess I say like nerve-wracking. Like we haven't been there yet, but like, what are you most nervous about?
right. I mean, I guess mine's a lot of personal issues. Like I'm not scared to like be out in front of people. I am not a public speaker. So I guess like I know yours is too. Is like doing our vows in front of people. Like the fact that I have not forgot words more in this is amazing, or said the wrong word, because I do that on a daily. I have to do announcements at work because sometimes I'm like, I do not how to speak English fluently, but
Right.
I just mumble and ramble like I'm doing now. But like getting up and talking in front of everybody, because it's like such a special and intimate, emotional moment. It's just scary to be up in front of everybody to do that.
Right, and you've heard me cry, so like, how am I supposed to
Yeah.
pronounce my words when I'm crying? And because
Well,
I'm bound to cry.
well, yeah, and so am I. But I think it's more like if you don't cry, it's not as meaningful. And not that it's not meaningful if you don't cry, but like at that point, everybody knows your true feelings and your true love towards each other.
Right. Okay. Bless you.
That was a cough.
I thought so, but try to save myself there both ways.
You know I sneeze 8,000 times.
That's true. So yeah,
Kind of excessive.
that's my biggest like the vows, and it's supposed to be our best, greatest day ever, and I don't, want anything to go awry, but it's probably going to, and then we're gonna roll with the punches because that's just
Right.
life, and that's just having a wedding. Everything's not perfect, but it's supposed to be a perfect day,
Right.
and you can't control the weather, you can't control what people's actions are to an extent, and so I just want to be like to be a perfect day for you and for us, but that's my other nervous thing. Like, yeah, we have to have our bridesmaids and groomsmen do that for us, but also we're gonna stress about that until it's over, and then it's party time, and we don't really care about that.
Right. I'm pretty excited about the party time. Get my groove on. Um, eat a bunch of food. That's gonna be delightful. Hopefully, don't get anything on my dress because I do tend to drop things down me, so I might need a bib.
Are you gonna eventually change out your dress? That's just a question I've never
Yes.
asked. Okay.
Yes. I have a plan. I have an idea.
I have a plan for something else, but I can't tell you.
I don't want to know.
I know.
Somebody's already told me about their banana hammock at the wedding, and I'm like, it's too much information.
A what?
A banana hammock? Like a Speedo?
Who said that?
Caleb.
Oh, okay. If that's what he's wearing, I was about to
Right.
say.
No.
I didn't come up with no banana hammock.
So my three cousins, Caleb, Brody, and Melina, are going to be what I call my something blue crew. So like something borrowed, something new, something old, something blue. So my cousins that are in the wedding with me, my younger cousins, any cousins. See, that English thing I was just talking about? I jinxed myself. So my younger cousins are going to be my something blue. My older cousin Chelsea is in the wedding, with me. So, I mean, she'll technically be wearing blue because our wedding colors are blue. So yeah, our colors are blue. So like my bridesmaids are going to be wearing a dusty blue color, and my maid of honor, my best friend, is going to be wearing a navy blue. And it's going to be a beautiful fall day. Fingers crossed that it was a lot like this year. It was beautiful this October. Actually, today, February 13th, was beautiful. I stepped out on lunch and I was like, I don't want to go back. I said to my office counterpart, I was like, I think they should send us home because the weather's good. They send us home when the weather's bad. Why can't they send us home when the weather's good?
How'd that go over?
Um, it was a no for them, dog. I actually didn't ask. There was enough chaos going on, and I did not have a spare moment to crack a joke. Um, it was not the time nor the place.
So before we finish up, one random question. Okay.
Got it? I'm ready. Hit me with your
Do
best shot.
Do you dream in black and white or color?
Color.
Color. Yeah, me too. So I was on TikTok and I saw this, and I'm kind of curious if people do dream in black and white. I mean,
Maybe if they're colorblind.
colorblind maybe, but like maybe even if you have, you can see color. Like, do you? Because colorblinds come in different forms. Like
Right, there's different
like a
variety.
red looks brown and stuff like that. So like,
But not for everybody.
correct. I know that. So I was just curious because that came up on a question earlier on TikTok. I was actually doing a TikTok live, and I'm like, is that like a real thing? So
Interesting.
color. But we're gonna end it there, guys. So thank you guys for tuning in, and hope you guys like this. If you have liked this, leave a like, hit the subscribe button, and happy early Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
Yes, right.
Yeah, you'll see this after Valentine's Day, but happy early Valentine's
That's
Day.
right.
Friends.
Happy late Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
We love you guys. Thank you so much. I love you, baby.
Love you.
See you guys.
Adios.